Okay, my friends, it's finally happened. It's hit the mainstream now. They're talking about the mud fossils and the preservation of these soft tissues openly now, finally. Okay, my friends, so why am I so excited? Well, exceptional preservation of soft bodies of creatures and plants promoted by a silica-rich ocean. Now, this was Derek Briggs. I presented all my work to in 2012, 13, 14, 15, all through that era, and I wrote a book in 2016, in January 2016. They published this paper in November of 2016, a year after my book came out or so. But I had been working with Derek and Armand, his assistant, Armand Morgan. Hello, Armand. I told you this day would come, my friend, and here it is. They say, yes, a worldwide layer, worldwide, exceptionally preserved soft-bodied creatures, all different types, and they don't know why they preserve so well. How the fossils are preserved remains controversial. It was a hot water worldwide flood of salts, and exactly basically what they say: rapid precipitation, high silica saturation of the oceans. The oceans covered the entire world. There's one layer worldwide. It says it right up there, this one strata worldwide. So they know this. So they sort of obscured the words, and as far as I know, I never even knew this existed until just a few months ago. I was digging into something, and boom, it popped up. So they say, yes, there was a worldwide flood. And all my mud fossils came from that. And these, again, I submitted them all to Derek Briggs years before this. So I was really surprised to see this paper, but I'm glad to see it, I got to be honest with you. And now everybody's taking note of it because I brought it to light. And I just saw they're starting to talk about it. You see this? Ediacara era. Many of the animals were soft-bodied, and this is the scientists uncovered evidence of what could be Earth's first mass extinction. So they're talking about this Ediacara mass extinction of the entire Earth, and that's precisely what they're talking about here. Ediacara, they named it Ediacara. I don't know, you can call it whatever you want to call it. It's one layer worldwide, and that was the Great Flood. As far as I'm concerned, it seals the case. And that's why all my mud fossils are perfectly preserved, soft-bodied creatures. Thank you, Yale. I appreciate your assistance. Okay, my outstanding friends, time to go back to school. They have just announced that there was a worldwide flood that happened, they claim, millions of years ago. I say it works exactly as Velikovsky said 3,500 years ago. And all, literally all, the ancient texts and carvings and glyphs and so forth, record this event. And Yale now agrees with my stuff that I sent. I proposed all this stuff to them. I told them, I said, I have CAT scans, mud fossils, they're perfectly preserved, and now they did publish the paper a year later. They said, yes, all those things are true, but it's been a little bit suppressed in its presentation. So we need to start all over anyway. Geology's wrong, history's wrong. Virtually everything's wrong. The chemistry, the feldspar, how stones and so forth are created, is, there's so much wrong, we just have to start over, which is literally a new library. So we're going to start with introduction to mud fossils and geology and how the surface of the earth is not what we thought it was like. And it's literally constructed of creatures, the bodies of creatures. And that's exactly what they said at Yale. However, they claim that's a certain layer. Well, the layer is on the top of the earth. Every single fossil I will show you is picked off right at the surface of the earth. Nothing here is hidden. Nothing is deep. So this just happened recently. Okay, so don't forget, this was Derek Briggs and his group here from November 2016. Well, this was when I was so frustrated I wrote my book February of 2016. So they published their paper because I published my paper, a book. It's a book. It's like only 99 cents. All I wanted to do was make sure that people understood. And it's you know, I got 4.4 ratings. When they first came out, everybody just beat up on me because they just hated what I was saying. But once those people left me alone because I just stopped talking about it, people liked it. Now, this is Minds in Collision, Mudfossils, and Velikovsky wrote Worlds in Collision. That's what created the mudfossils. Was we were almost hit by Venus, and it combusted the atmosphere, literally boiled the oceans and cooked the mudfossils, turned all collagens. For some reason, they had an affinity to add to feldspar is collagen, and feldspar has aluminum silicates. I mean, I'm deep into this. I understand this very, very well, the chemistry. I've made mud fossils. You can make them. It's not hard to do. But you have to have everything. You have to have the transition metals, the blood, the organs, the whole 9 yards have to be in this soup. And that's what it was. The Earth was just a big soup. And it appears that it happened according to what they say in the ancient texts. It's time to look back and rethink the things that we always thought that were just ridiculous, crazy things to think about. And I have to agree, they are. They are absolutely amazing things. What was this? Christianity. You know, if that's true, that makes a big difference. I never thought it was. I got to be honest with you. I was never believing any of this stuff. But right now, I don't disbelieve anything. If you read Apollodorus, you will understand precisely what I'm saying. Apollodorus talks about Typhon. Typhon is the dragon in the desert. So, thank you, Yale. Thank you, everybody that's starting to talk about this openly and freely speak about it. It's a first mass extinction. Well, why are they on the top of the earth if it was 550 million years ago? You know, they say everything is layer, 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 layer. No, those are all strata of creatures' body parts. I'm telling you, what we believed is just not correct. And this is Typhon right here. And here's the tip of his head. And it runs all the way down his throat, and these are dragon scales on his throat, all the way down, all the way down, all the way down, all the way down, all the way down. You see those dragon scales? That's not just an accident. And this is all runoff of a dead, decaying, decomposing body, fluids. Fully understood by any forensic guy. Now, this is all the flashy stuff they have running down the side of the dragons in the parades. They knew all about these. And here's his red, flaring, flashy eye. And he was spitting stuff at this gigantic fish. Now, this is absolutely insane. No question whatsoever that's a fact. From here over to here is his tail. And these are his scales at the end of his, well, towards the end of his tail. And they're running off because it's decomposing too. It's all decomposing, the whole thing. Now, this is very easy to see. It is not hard, and it is written about. It's said that his head often brushed the stars. You read Apollodorus 1.6.3. They talk about his red flaring eye, his hairy, flashy body all unkempt, his thighs. Everything, it 100% fits. They said his head often brushed the stars. Now it's time to look at this because this is, you know, as far as I'm concerned, everybody dies. I'd like to know if there is something crazy, because it appears there is something crazy going on here. Okay, so as we've seen, Yale agrees with my conclusion that these are mud fossils preserved in exactly the way that I said. Now, we have exceptional numbers of things that are just beyond belief. all of these are things I can show. This is a fingertip. It's almost 3 feet long. That's a giant. That's just about as giant as you want to get around here. And here's the fingerprints still on it. Those are fingerprints, grip skin. My fingertip is the same width as one fingerprint. This is the thing they're talking about, is Typhon right here. All right, here's his red flaring eyes. This is his dragon-scaled body. And here he is in the desert. All right, there's his dragon throat. And there's all the flashy stuff. And there's his red eye. I highlighted it in the other one. And here he is in totality, running all the way from there across North Africa. And there's still dragon-scaled tail over here. You come up here and look. And this is where his cloaca is. And there's people living in the fertile valley there, which is the cloacal fluids running out. This still has some kind of vitality to it, apparently. When I'm talking about blood coming out, I'm not kidding you. Bones like this, they have what they call a foramen in them. They're little depressions where the blood vessels come out and they go to the next place. And when they break apart, you still have the vein and artery down running into the bone. They leak out, just like when I took them out of the ground, some of them would leak and have these scabs. I mean, literally a scab, watch. I'm not kidding you. It's a scab and it has what they call fibrin underneath. That's the white clotting fiber. This is still making biology after, I believe, 3,500 years was when this event happened. Every single thing that I am showing you, 100% are on the top, on the surface, above all of the dirt. They're on the surface of the earth. How did that get on the surface of the earth if this was like 50 million years ago? All right, everything, nothing here I had to dig for, except they did dig a little foundation, only about, I think, 3-4 feet deep, and that's where I did get some of my fossils from, but very few. Most of them came right off of the surface of the earth. Like that was just laying there, And there's another one next to it, which is still on my property. That I sold this lot, and this is on that guy's property. It's just off my property by about 10 feet. But the other fingertip that goes with it is still on my property, and it's eroded a lot. But it's absolutely flawless to see, no question whatsoever. You can see the blood vessels and so forth on the side. And that's the key. What you need to do is find the blood supplies. These have 2 on the side, 2 on this side, 2 on the tips. That's the key to finding fingers. And you should almost always find those blood vessels. They'll be visible. You know, well, not all, it's hard to say. I can find them because I know what to look for. It's like looking at the back of these fingertips right here. You see this? This is where the bone was. This is a CAT scan, but it's a surface scan, which is absolutely fabulous. Now, the black, I believe, is the vein side, and this one here is white. Here, let me turn this off. You see the black? Usually that's vein. The white is, in this case, probably the blood drained out of it, because the arteries are open. They can drain, they can fill up, they can do anything they want. Veins is different. They have little clamps here and there in them so that you can only go one direction, which is going to be back to the heart. This means that blood would be going down and it would be coming back this way. You see these round things here? Those are the tendons that make your finger be able to do all this. Ligaments, tendons, whatever you want to call them. They're straps. They come up to the side so you can move your fingertips. And this is a bone that rocks up against the next bone. And this same fingertip was scanned for its fingernail part. You see, it's hard to see, but if you know, well, it's not hard to see actually. It comes right around. It comes right up here like this. Now it's gone, and we're down into the meat of the matter. And there's a little cutout on the side of these fingers that is where the tendons lock in, and those are gone. There's a bunch of tendons that run up the side of your fingers to make your fingers very, very you know, be able to articulate in all kinds of different ways. Now, what haven't I shown you? Oh, this is another one that Tish found. Tish Egerton found a ton of these. She took the 15-minute challenge. In 15 minutes, she went out and found all her no-toes. And these are the ones that are the spring-loaded ones. This one here, this is just, I just fell off my chair when I saw this. Because I have no-toes, but I nothing that was eroded down to a point that I could see this level of detail. I mean, this is just stunning. This is the abrupt transition of the tendon, where normally that strap would have gone all the way up. And when they snap, they get a wrinkle zone. And that's the wrinkle zone right there, right down to here. Normally it's under tension, and bang, and you get these little wrinkles on. And they're all over the place. All of the tendons, they're all over the world, and they're huge, these tendons. And the wrinkle zones are huge. And I mean huge. Just take a look at the top of Devil's Tower. Okay, I mentioned to you that I believe this is the first test ever done for human ancient DNA, and we collaborated back and forth, and he was very, very, very helpful. Tom from Helix Biolabs. Now, I had 3 samples done. I extracted them, sent them off. This will be online. Well, it is online. It's been online for years. And they got excellent quality DNA because I sent them virtual blood. I mean, it literally down inside deep. I didn't take it from the surface. It was excellent quality DNA. And it was Homo sapien mitochondria. That's the mother side. All I wanted to find out was that. I didn't care about, I didn't want anything cloned or anything. I still don't. But I have very little control over that. Anyway, so the DNA is here. The CAT scans were done by Jesse Garant and Associates. Absolute most fabulous people. No, this was the best experience I had. Well, I had some pretty good experiences. Helix Biolabs, absolutely fabulous. Jesse Garant was just incredible. They did this at no charge. 7 CAT scans or X-rays. I don't know what they did, but they sent me the scanning results, which I showed you some, and they do all of this stuff, and I mean they do it right and they do it good, and you know, I've understood that they're reasonably priced, and they all kind of certifications, Rolls-Royce, Raytheon, Pratt and Whitney. They do some serious work here, and I am forever appreciative from Jesse and Fabio and all their fabulous people that helped. And like I say, this was CAT scans are not cheap. We had another one done at the University of Texas, Austin, that Yale recommended, and that was very expensive. I think it was $1,250. And it didn't work out well because they didn't want to do it. They had no interest in. Nobody wanted to see this stuff at this point in time. That's why I had to write the book, and it was a little. I was kind of upset at that point. I got to be perfectly honest with you, because I had all the evidence. Well, you just saw it. I had CAT scans, DNA specimens. I still got them coming out of my ears, and they're still not really allowed to be seen. But I see that's changing. Thank God. And when I say thank God, I really mean it, because we have been really misled about our past. Let me just show you what's wrong right now in what our belief system is. Okay, what is wrong? Well, everything. Mudfossils changed everything. It was a hot water great flood. That was the key. Velikovsky was the guy that understood this. It was recorded that Venus almost hit Earth. And it did apparently hit Mars, and that's what caused Mars to be literally dead. The oceans raged. They literally boiled. The creatures boiled, and that's what preserved the collagens on the surface and created like rubber bags, because all of the fascia has something in it that bonds to aluminum silicates. Now, aluminum silicates are right next to each other. Aluminum silicate right here on the periodic chart. Something, the heat fused them together, I don't know what. But there's also a lot of inclusions of other things in that mix, but it's always, 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 100% always, feldspar is aluminum silicates. Aluminum silicates are feldspar. All right, collagens. Now, what changes? Everything, 100%. Geology changes, history, spirituality, really. I mean, you know, it might change, it might not. For me, it brought spirituality to me. It brought God to me. It brought probably Jesus Christ. Well, I'm not going to say probably anymore. As far as I'm concerned, he's the only one that knew Earth was a body and a corpse. That was written by Jesus Christ thousands of years ago. And you will be disturbed, and you will marvel, and you will realize that the Earth is a body and a corpse. Is bodies and corpses, whatever you want to call it. Now, so this has brought a whole new meaning to my life. I got to be honest with you. And you know, everybody dies, so don't think you're going to get out of this alive. You better start thinking now. So we got to change biology, geology, chemistry, feldspar, all that stuff. Nucleophilic substitution invasion is in with this aluminum silicates in this hot waters. Collagen invaded. It's stabilized. The collagen is the fascia. It coats the body parts. The body parts, like a bone. This bone is a body part. Everything that had fascia surrounding it, and every different type of body part has fascia. This was, hold on. This is a lung. There's not a doctor in the world could see that and not realize that was a lung. It has a little attachment up at the top. It has another attachment at the bottom. This is the fascia that coats it. It's flat on the back because it died in the flood just like this. And this is fascia, and there's no question, and this is a pattern of the lobes of the lung. This is a left human lung, and this was DNA tested and CAT scanned, and this is where the depression of the heart is. The heart sits like this. And the guy died laying on his back. And that's really literally raw blood comes out of here. I mean, I'm not kidding you. Now, and I don't just take it right off the surface. I basically cut the surface off, then drill down into like a red blood artery like that. And then that's what I take off and send to the lab. And that's I had 3 DNA tests done. So not only is all this stuff wrong, which is literally everything. Tell me something that's right, because even physics is totally wrong now, and they agree with that. They say, well, we got a problem with physics. The models don't work. No, these are the particles they found. Yes, I agree with that. But they're smashing big particles, and then they dig through. They found them, but we found them using light. This is what they wanted to do 50 years ago. They couldn't figure out how to do it. Well, we got it figured out right here. You send light into a venturi, and here's the light right there. When it hits that venturi, it breaks the black from the white. You see the black and the whites together? It's going that way. Now, all they ever see is the two of them, and together they call it a dirac neutrino, and apart they call it a muon and an electron shower. And here's the muon, the black ball, and this turns into a shower, which is this. And here's their explanation. This is not me wrote this. The muon, neutrino, electron, neutrino come in together at a high voltage. They hit something that impedes them, which is this our venturi. It does the same thing in heavy water. It's got to squeeze into that zone. And the white doesn't want to squeeze. When they squeeze, they push each other apart. It creates a tremendous amount of energy right there. Electron showers. That's an electron shower. It started just the 2 particles together, the dirac, which is this up here. That's the dirac. That's another dirac. The 2 of them back to back make a photon. All right, when they split, they just go on their own separate ways, and you get sterile muons. All right, and you get electron showers. Exactly what you see right there. And it all happened right here as we accelerated the light. So physics is totally wrong. If you can accelerate light, that negates Einstein right there. Secondly, we know light can be slowed down, and space is nowhere near a vacuum. All of this stuff saturates space, and space is saturated with dust. They know this. That's what's slowing down the light, causing the redshift. So the new university will be Mudfossil University, and we were going to go through everything. I'm going to have books for everything. My friend is writing the books right now. And I just got these the other day, particle physics and electron flood. These are going to be the next things we're going to go through, but we're going to go through all the mud fossil information first. But everything's going to have to change. This is just like a complete change in the libraries. I think it was Einstein that said, don't ever remember a word that was written down. And Max Planck, as far as physics, says, science advances one funeral at a time. Boy, was he right. So it's time to rewrite history, my friends. We're starting it all over now.